Waves. Topic: speed of a traveling wave. So let us see the speed of a traveling wave. Speed of traveling wave means how fast a wave travels through a medium, how fast the energy is transferred from one point to the other in a medium, how fast the disturbance is propagating through the medium. To determine the speed of propagation of a traveling wave, we can fix our attention on any particular point on the wave and see how that point moves in time. To make this statement clear, suppose you are standing on a seashore and you are watching the tidal waves approaching you. Now, you have to concentrate on one of the crests of a wave. You have to concentrate on a particular crest only. That is, if you are concentrating properly, then you can see only that crest, nothing else. And if you see that crest, you can see that that crest approaches you. Some quantity of water is coming towards you. And that is the speed of that crest, or you can say that is the speed of that wave, because that crest is actually a part of that wave. So to get the speed of a propagating traveling wave, we have to concentrate on any particular point of that wave and see how fast that point is moving. So it is convenient to look at the motion of a crest of the wave. Here you can see a wave pattern at a particular instant t. A wave pattern at a particular instant t. And we are going to see that point. How this point moves. After a time interval, say delta t, the wave advances through the medium and the point moves through a distance, say delta x. The dotted line represents the wave pattern after a time interval delta t, that is, at an instant t plus delta t. Here you could see that the wave advances some distance. Therefore, the point also gets shifted by an amount delta x. That is, the point moves through a distance delta x in a time delta t. So the entire wave pattern is seen to shift to the right, that is positive direction of x-axis, by a distance delta x. Therefore, the speed of the wave is delta x by delta t, by definition of speed, distance by time taken. So the speed of the wave is delta x by delta t. Since we are seeing the motion of a fixed phase point, that is, we are concentrating on the crest, which is a fixed phase point on the wave, its phase will be a constant. The phase of a wave is kx minus omega t. If the initial phase is 0, then you can say the phase at a particular instant is given by kx minus omega t. That is a constant. Since we are watching that point on the crest, which is a fixed phase point. So its phase remains constant. So kx minus omega t is constant. The meaning is, as time increases, x also increases. It advances through the medium. So as time increases, x also increases. So that difference, kx minus omega t, will be a constant. That is, the value of kx minus omega t is same as k into x plus delta x minus omega into t plus delta t. Thus, as time t changes, the position x of the fixed phase point must change so that the phase remains constant. The meaning is kx minus omega t is equal to k into x plus delta x minus omega into t plus delta t. So k into x plus delta x minus omega into t plus delta t is the phase value after a time interval delta t. And kx minus omega t is the phase value at an instant t. Since we are concentrating on a fixed phase point, the phase values will be same. So kx minus omega t is equal to k into x plus delta x minus omega into t plus delta t. Removing the brackets and cancelling the similar terms, we get k into delta x minus omega into delta t is equal to 0. On rearranging the above equation, we get delta x by delta t is equal to omega by k. Delta x by delta t is omega by k. Now, what is omega? Omega is angular frequency, which can be put in terms of the time period of the simple harmonic motion. That is 2 pi by t, and k, the angular wave number or propagation constant, which is equal to 2 pi by lambda. So omega by k can be replaced as 2 pi by t divided by 2 pi by lambda. On simplifying, we get it is lambda by t. Lambda is the wavelength and t is the time period. So lambda divided by t. Now lambda by t, which is lambda into 1 by t, and 1 by t is the frequency. So we get lambda into f equal to v. So these are the various equations to find out the speed of a traveling wave. Either from delta x by delta t you can calculate, or by knowing the angular frequency and wave number you can calculate the velocity, or by knowing the wavelength and time period, or by wavelength and frequency you can calculate the speed of a traveling wave. This equation is a general relation for all progressive waves, and it shows that in the time required for one full oscillation by any constituent of the medium, the wave pattern travels a distance equal to wavelength of the wave. So what is t? T is the time period of simple harmonic motion executed by a single particle. The meaning is when a particle completes one full oscillation, the wave travels by a distance equal to wavelength of it. That is, in a time capital T, the wave advances by an amount lambda. It should be noted that the speed of a mechanical wave is determined by the inertial and elastic properties. That is, the speed of a traveling wave or a progressive wave in a medium is determined by the properties of the medium rather than the characteristics of the wave. The speed of a mechanical wave depends on the inertial and elastic properties of the medium. The inertial properties are like the mass density, generally mass of the system, mass density of the system. If we consider a string, a stretched string, then it is the linear mass density. Whereas the elastic properties are like Young's modulus of the material, bulk modulus or shear modulus or rigidity modulus of the medium. So speed of a traveling wave, mechanical wave, or speed of a wave in a medium is or depends on or is decided by the inertial and elastic properties. Now let us see speed of a transverse wave on a stretched string. You have a stretched string and that string is disturbed at some instant, and correspondingly a wave will be generated in that system. What is the speed of that transverse wave on a stretched string? The speed of a mechanical wave is determined by the restoring force set up in the medium when it is disturbed and the inertial properties of the medium. The speed is expected to be directly related to the former and inversely to the latter. That is, speed is directly proportional to the restoring force and inversely proportional to the inertial properties of the medium. For waves on a string, the restoring force is provided by the tension T in the string. And the inertial property will be the linear mass density denoted by mu. What is linear mass density? Mass of the string divided by length of the string. So when you divide the total mass of the string by total length of the string, you are finding out what is the mass per unit length of it. And that is known as the linear mass density represented by mu. We shall use dimensional analysis to derive the equation for wave speed. The dimension of mu is mass per length, so it is ml raised to minus 1. And that of T, what is T? Tension. Tension is actually a force developed in ropes, strings, etc. when there is an external force on it. So tension T is actually a force, so its dimension is mlt raised to minus 2. So what is tension divided by mu? It will be mlt raised to minus 2 divided by ml raised to minus 1, which is equal to L square T raised to minus 2. What is L square T raised to minus 2? It is simply L T raised to minus 1, the whole square. So L T raised to minus 1 is velocity, dimension of velocity. So it shows that when you divide T by mu dimensionally, it is square of velocity. So we write V is equal to C into root of T by mu, where C is the undetermined constant of dimensional analysis. In the exact formula that is calculated using Newton's laws of motion, it turns out C is equal to 1. So the speed of transverse waves on a stretched string is given by V is equal to root of T by mu. Note the important point that the speed V depends only on the properties of the medium, that is tension and the linear mass density. It does not depend on wavelength or frequency of the wave itself. That's why it is told the wave speed, the speed of a traveling wave in a medium is decided by the characteristics properties of the medium rather than the characteristics of a wave. Now let us discuss speed of a longitudinal wave. That is, when sound travels through air. Sound travels through air in the form of longitudinal waves. So what is the speed of sound in air? In a longitudinal wave, the constituents of the medium oscillate forward and backward in the direction of propagation of wave. That is, if wave propagates along the positive x direction, then the particles, the individual particles of the medium will be vibrating along the x-axis. Whereas in transverse wave, the vibrations are perpendicular to x-axis as wave moves along x direction. So in a longitudinal wave, the constituents of the medium oscillate forward and backward in the direction of propagation of the wave. Sound waves travels in the form of compressions and rarefactions of small volume elements of air. The elastic property that determines the stress under compressional strain is the bulk modulus of the medium. So bulk modulus B is equal to minus of delta P divided by delta V by V, which we have discussed in properties of fluids. Properties of solids. There we have discussed bulk modulus. So bulk modulus B is equal to minus delta P by delta V by V. The inertial property relevant for the propagation of wave is the mass density rho. So dimensionally, we can prove that bulk modulus to density is square of the velocity. So we have B is equal to C into root of B by rho, where, as before, C is the undetermined constant from dimensional analysis. The exact derivation shows that C is equal to 1. Therefore, the speed of longitudinal wave is v is equal to root of b by rho. The speed of longitudinal waves in a solid bar is v is equal to root of y by rho, because in solid, the bulk modulus is replaced by the Young's modulus because there is no lateral expansion. So v is equal to root of y by rho, where y is Young's modulus of the material and rho its density. We can estimate the speed of sound in a gas in the ideal gas approximation, or using ideal gas approximation, we can estimate the speed of sound in gas. For an ideal gas, the pressure P, volume V, and temperature T are related by PV is equal to N into kBT, where N is the number of molecules in volume V, kB is the Boltzmann's constant, and T the temperature of the gas in Kelvin. Therefore, for an isothermal change, we have PV is equal to a constant, and differentiating the above equation, we get V into delta P plus P into delta V equal to 0, and therefore P is equal to minus delta P divided by delta V by V. That is, on simply rearranging the above equation, we can find the expression for pressure as P is equal to minus delta P divided by delta V by V, which is actually the bulk modulus. So B is equal to P. Therefore, velocity of sound in air using ideal gas approximation is V is equal to root of P by rho, pressure by density, root of pressure divided by density. This relation was first given by Newton and is known as Newton's formula. But the velocity of sound calculated by theoretical means, that is using the above formula, root of P by rho, is about 15% smaller as compared to the experimental value of velocity of sound in air, which is 331 meter per second. So 331 meter per second is the velocity of sound in air, which is calculated experimentally. Whereas if you substitute the values of bulk mode pressure and density at standard temperature and pressure, and if you calculate the velocity, it is found to be somewhere around 280, which is 15% smaller than the experimental value. So this shows that there was some mistake in deriving the speed of sound wave by Newton. This is because the assumption made by Newton that the pressure variations in a medium during propagation of sound are isothermal, and that was found to be wrong. Newton assumed that the pressure variations when sound moves through air is isothermal. It was pointed by Laplace that the pressure variations in the propagation of sound are so fast and there is little time for the heat flow to maintain constant temperature. So these variations are adiabatic, not isothermal. For adiabatic process, the ideal gas satisfies the relation PV raised to gamma equal to a constant, where gamma is Cp by Cv. So the speed of sound is therefore V is equal to root of gamma P by rho. So there should be a correction term, gamma. V is equal to root of gamma P by rho. This modification of Newton's formula is referred to as the Laplace correction. For air, which is usually diatomic, gamma is equal to 7 by 5. Now using the above equation, that is V is equal to root of gamma P by rho, if you estimate the speed of sound in air at STP, we get the value 331.3 meter per second, which agrees with the measured speed. So the actual equation to find out speed of sound in air is V is equal to root of gamma P by